Peace and welcome to Atlantis Build Talk Radio, the premier station for 5% of Nation of Gods and Earth social commentary, interviews, musicology, and uncensored discussions about the science of everything in life. This station is a subsidiary of Asia and the Atlantis School for Gifted Youngsters at www.atlantischool.blogspot.com and Asia TV at YouTube/Quanaya. Quanah. Peace and welcome to another edition of Atlantis Build Talk Radio. I'm your host, Saladin, and in today's episode, I'm very excited to share with you an exclusive build with my brother True Wise, who has a background in the tech industry as well as cryptocurrency. He actually invested in cryptocurrency some years back when people didn't even know what it was. So with this cryptocurrency craze that's going on nowadays, I wanted to make sure that I provided a platform with a subject matter expert who can give you insight into what cryptocurrency actually is in the context of today's economy, as well as what you can actually do to invest in it. So what I would encourage you to do right now is to take out a notebook and jot down some of the things that he's going to be talking about, because this is Cryptocurrency 101. Additionally, he shares with you his personal contact information so that you can reach out to him if you need some further insight in some of the things that he's going to be talking about in the territory that he's going to cover. So without further ado, here's my brother True Wise. Peace.
Peace, God. How you doing?
Peace, God. I'm doing great. How about you?
Excellent. I'm glad that I got an opportunity to add on with you, and I appreciate you just taking the time to get some clarity on this cryptocurrency craze that's going on right now.
That's
you know
right.
What I mean?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Likewise, glad to get a chance to build about this. It's definitely something that I've been talking about lately with a lot of people. So yeah, very important.
To give our listeners a little bit of an insight into who you are, just add on a little bit about your background, like your area of expertise, so that people can get some context into who you are.
Right. Peace. True indeed. Yeah. So True Wise is my name, and I would say I am a community educator through different capacities, built and educated about different things. So, build with youth, make videos to the internet, do all that kind of stuff. For a while I was into, teaching survivalism, learning and teaching survivalism and things like that. Nowadays, what you can usually find me doing is teaching locally in local community centers. Sometimes they'll have me come out and teach science and math classes to children and things like that. So usually with my community involvement, it will be things like that. In terms of what I do for my day job, I work in the technology world, and I am what's called a Design Psychologist, which means I take psychology and I make technology easier to use. And so you have a lot of companies out there, they build technologies to try to help businesses get things done, help people do things. But the technology is very difficult to understand, difficult to use, so they hire someone like me to come in and formulate it, craft it, architect it in a way that people will get it easier. So that's what I do for a living, and then for that reason, I happen to be around a lot of technology discussion. There's a lot of concepts and things that I ended up understanding more, even though I don't have that much of a computer background. I ended up having one through having to do these kind of projects. You see what I'm saying? And then when it comes to like things like crypto that we're going to talk about today, and just like other things, I have like this special understanding of it that I get because I'm in a special situation. So that's a little bit about me.
What would you say is one of your earliest memories? Where would you say you had one of your first aha moments in terms of
period? Period?
Yes.
Or talking about in terms of crypto? You talking about just period?
Just period, just your journey.
I don't know. I think I would have to say, growing up listening to hip hop, there was a lot of things that just you come across. You just come across an MC such as like a KRS-One or someone like a Rakim, and they just say a certain line. It might be one line or one phrase, and it just really has you thinking. And I would say hip hop is probably the closest thing in my life that's come to a quote-unquote religion, in terms of if you have a source of scriptures that you refer to, and you have a source of, teachers and proverbs and things like that. I would say that's probably one of the things. But yeah, just growing through life, being fortunate enough to having great educators who, at different points in time appear in your life, and you know how that is, right? And then just people give you those different jewels that it changes your life in a way that person probably wasn't expecting when they said it.
True indeed. So how did you start getting involved in like the community work and particularly working with youth?
Yeah, true indeed. That was definitely through being a 5%er. So one of the things that I was turned on to was supreme mathematics. Sometime in my late teenage years, started doing that, finding educators and stuff like that. And what appealed to me from this direction, because people can do community work from a variety of different directions. Some people come through more so an Afrocentric route, and some people through this route or that route. What appealed to me, and what I think a lot of people like me and yourself, I think, is that sometimes you want the answers without baggage attached. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you'll have a certain philosophy that offers something, but then they'll be like, yeah, but you've also got to believe in this really crazy, unprovable stuff. You just have to trust it. I'm like, that's not the kind of brain I have. I need the verification. I need to be able to see it for myself. I can't. I'm tired of the trying to believe. So coming up through that, it's that dedication to just raw truth, because you get to a point where people's lives are real. People's problems are real. So I can't see any way out of problems other than dealing with the reality. I don't want to lie to myself. You know what I'm saying? I want something real. You know what I'm saying? So then, when you learn enough to start becoming a real teacher and educator, you strive to bestow this similar type of values, and then you show people you could do anything you want in this world, and you're the master of your reality, and you can go out here and you can actually do these things, and you show them examples of it, and then that's why people need upstanding examples. So it goes beyond philosophy. It goes beyond just saying it or talking about it. So people can see it and be like, hey, that works. Because everybody just follows examples. Even if you look at communities that are very successful, those people are, let's say you have an immigrant community such as people who immigrate from India, or people who immigrate from China, or people who immigrate from Mexico. They come over doing what their family and friends are doing, because that's what you see around you. So you just kind of repeat what you're doing. So if your cousin says, hey, I'm a computer programmer and I moved to America from India, you guys should move over here too. And then they're going to learn computer programming, and you're going to have a bunch of people doing it. Say, hey, I'm from Nigeria and I decided to become a doctor. Hey, and then they go back to Nigeria and they say, hey, move over to America. You could get a pretty good job being a doctor or a nurse or a professor or a chemist, or, one of these other things that you often see Nigerian communities do. And that's true of every community. So then it's upon us to be an example, and then to show it to people, and then to say, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Look, you can do this. And I am able to make a living, or I'm able to have a good life in some way based upon doing this. You know what I'm saying?
True indeed. Now, the area that you're in right now, is this the area that you've primarily been doing the community work in, or were you living in a different location and relocated? And
True indeed, yeah. So I've lived actually a bunch of different places. I'm originally from the East Coast. I'm from Boston. And then I grew up back and forth, Boston and Houston. When I got really into knowledge itself, I was living in Virginia, and then lived in the D.C. area when I started really deep diving into that. Moved to Louisiana for school. Most of my jumping around was from school, different programs and stuff like that. Lived in Louisiana for a while, was building in the Deep South, and got exposed to all the interesting challenges dealing with trying to build conscious communities in the Deep South, and then settle out in Houston. Knowledge what I'm saying, and this is where I've been living for the past 10 years. So I'm based out of Houston, Texas, and I find Houston, Texas. I like the community out here. It's not as advanced as a lot of other conscious communities, but it's kind of more united in the fact that people don't really care what other people's backgrounds are. It's just people just kind of come together to build, and there's not a lot of giant mega egos out here. Like different cities are different, right? Like some cities are plagued by mega egos that slow down progress, right? And we both know this, right? And then the other things going on, but I find Houston is a decent mix of just, you know, people just doing things or whatever the case may be. So it's not one of the most, you know, crazy, amazing communities that you'll see, but it's just kind of, you don't have a lot of that big I, little you. You don't have a lot of the ego stuff going on. So it's a nice place to be. Yeah,
that's peace. So you mentioned that just being in the tech industry, that's how you originally got exposed to just the cryptocurrencies and stuff. And you mentioned a couple of weeks ago when we were building that you invested in Bitcoin way before people even knew what it was about.
Right.
So how did you get into that?
Right. So with me learning about crypto, it was like a weird mix of things. Like, so one side is the technology stuff that I work around all the time. And then the other side, I would say, was probably the being into survivalism and being into trying to be ahead of the curve in terms of what is happening next in society and how do I get prepared for that. There was a mix of those two things that made me early on realize this cryptocurrency thing. And I was probably listening to some, you know, interviews or radio or something like that years ago in 2011 or so. And then I heard about Bitcoin. And I heard how Bitcoin was a way of storing money value somehow online, and it's somehow a digital currency. And I was thinking, like, wow, like, what if I was to move to another country, you know, because this one is going to shambles or whatever the case may be, could there be a way I could transfer money to myself or to store things in a way that banks with their, you know, and Wall Street speculators won't be able to crash it and crash my money and do so? Can I protect my money somehow? And I thought, and I ran across Bitcoin. Now, when I first heard about Bitcoin, it was probably like I think like $4 or $11 or something like that per Bitcoin. And then, you know, today it bounces back and forth from being worth $10,000 and $15,000.
Wow.
It got close to $20,000. Now, I didn't buy Bitcoin when it was really, really low because I was not technically sophisticated enough to really get into it yet. And then so I got into it when certain web services made it a little bit easier. And I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and buy this stuff. And I bought Bitcoin when it was around when it was bouncing between $70 and $90. That's when I started buying Bitcoins. And and it's something I didn't expect it to blow up, like get, you know, worth a lot like that. I was into it for its intrinsic value. And then so I sat on that for a few years. I sold a lot of them too early, but I still got one. But anyway, then other cryptocurrencies started to appear, and things like Ethereum that we're going to get into a little bit later. And, you know, bought those low and then saw those really going up. And then I really realized within the past, I think maybe 2 years, maybe 1.5 to 2 years, I started realizing that this is a way that a lot of people can really change their financial situation. You know, so not on some get rich quick. I don't want to oversell that, right? So I don't want to say, oh yeah, buy crypto and you're guaranteed to be. It's not like that, but it's more like we're in the middle of a shift. So I don't want people of goodwill to miss out on that shift.
You
know?
True indeed. So like for those people that don't know what cryptocurrency is, and, you know, I'm glad again that you're on the show and giving us some clarity on that, because along with this cryptocurrency craze, there's been a lot of cryptocurrency experts now online, and people really don't know what they need to, what is the accurate information, what's not accurate, you know what I mean? So,
right.
You know, for somebody that doesn't know what cryptocurrency is, how would you define it?
Yes. So I would define it as uncontrolled mass money. Now, before I get into what I think that is, let me take a step back and talk about why everyone's talking about it to begin with. Okay. So you have this Bitcoin. We'll talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin became worth a ton of money out of the blue, and people didn't see it coming. So obviously that is newsworthy. And so they start covering this on the news, and we've heard it on the news, and then that's part of what's gone into this explosion of people getting into it. Why is this thing worth so much? Now, there are two possible reasons why this is worth so much. Mm-hmm. It's either a bubble or it's a paradigm shift. Mm. Now, being in America and being subjected to the activities of Wall Street, we're familiar with a bubble. And a bubble is basically when people are not living in reality and they invest in something that is, you know, worthless or useless or close to it, but they believe it's worth something. But since they're not living in reality, they keep on buying into it, and the price rises and rises and rises and rises. And then the bubble pops when reality kicks in later. So you have all different kinds of bubbles throughout history. You had I think the Dutch hundreds of years ago had a tulip like the flower bubble, where people started buying tulips. And you can look this up. It's a weird story, but they started believing that it was worth a lot, and the price went up, and then it crashed. And then you got some other bubbles in history. One was dealing with Mississippi and land and the price of land, and so now it's a bubble. And then so with Wall Street, you had bubbles like you had the housing crisis, and the way they spin that is that the reason was the housing crisis is because everyone was being so irresponsible, and they're trying to get houses for cheap, and they're not financially responsible. What had really happened is you had derivatives. You had something called derivatives where basically people are betting. It turned the stock market to a casino, and they started taking things that was worthless and packaging them as things that were valuable, right? So they would take debt. They would take debt, and they would transform it and transform it again and transform it again and transform it again until finally you can't really recognize what it originally is. What does that sound like? That sounds like grafting, doesn't it? So, right, so they got derivatives, which is basically you're taking the original value and you're grafting it until it becomes something crazy that you can't recognize. And then it crashes because at some point reality has to kick in, you know, because gravity exists, the laws of physics exist, stuff has to kick in. So that's what a bubble is. But then there's something else called a paradigm shift. And a paradigm shift, I would say that's when one ship is sinking while some new platform is rising. And there's going to be some early people who see the platform and they get on it early, so they get a good position on it. Then you got some people in the middle, a big wave of people, and then you got people at the end who sink with the ship. And then so what happens is right now we're at a point in history where it's difficult to tell the difference between what we're in right now. So Bitcoin rises up, it shoots way up. What's happening? Is it because it's a bubble? Or is there something new? And I think we have all the reason to think that it is a paradigm shift and not just a bubble. So let me frame that within the history of money. A few weeks ago, for Kwanzaa, I gave a presentation for Ujamaa, Cooperative Economics, where I talked about cryptocurrency. And then so in this one, I broke down this 5-point ages of money, and I want to share that again here because I think it's a good way of thinking about it. So money or value throughout the ages or throughout human history, it's been more or less, I think, in these 5 different frameworks. So one, you have the barter system. So what's that? That's when I have something, you have something, we trade, right? So that's the barter system. People trade things for what they want. Then where that falls between the cracks is what I have isn't necessarily what you want and vice versa. So then you have commodity as money. So you pick a commodity, and then that becomes the money. So cowrie shells is one example of that, where cowrie shells were used for certain things, but then they also are used as money. So a commodity is also money. So that was the second age, roughly, of money. The third age is official coins or coinage. It's where you got a state that issues coins. They say, hey, this is the official money that everybody's supposed to use. It's got a picture of the emperor's face on it, so that's how you know it's official, and it's carved out of something that you can't make up, such as gold or silver or iron or whatever the case may be. So you can't just take a rock and just make one yourself. It's got to be made. It's got to be official. So that's official coins. Well, then the problem with that is coins are heavy. So if you're rich, that means you've got to carry around big giant sacks of coins or big giant sacks of metal. So then what comes after that? You have banknotes. A banknote is somebody stores the money for you, but they give you a sheet of paper saying, we promise we'll give you your money back if you turn in this note. And then it's an official banknote. And that's the age that we're living in today. So that's your dollar bill. So when you pull out a dollar bill from your wallet and you look at it, and you look at the front that says, the front of the dollar bill, it says, this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. So it's telling you it's a note. This is a note, and it's issued by an institution called the Federal Reserve, and it's a promise. The problem with this note is it used to be tied with metals. It used to be tied with precious metal, gold and silver. But then that link was broken decades ago, right? And then you had the ability to make fake banknotes. You could make a lot of them. And then you could do this. That's what the bailouts were. And you could do all this stuff. So this brings us up to the 5th age of money, what I would call the cryptocurrency age, the one we're going into. If you look at when Bitcoin came out, it came out right after the banking collapse. So you have this new public crisis in confidence in banknotes. You have a new fear and a new mass fear and proof of the fear that you should be afraid in banknotes. So then you had this Bitcoin stuff. It appeared at the internet in its code, and I'll talk about what it is. I'll get back to what it is. But then that was the initial phase of people wanting to move into it. They said, I don't trust the banknotes anymore. I'm getting into cryptocurrency. So that was the beginning of that shift, that paradigm shift. So then to keep it high level and simple, what is it? I would say that I would use the example of let's look at digital money. So if you have a PayPal account, and you log on to your PayPal account and you transfer money into your PayPal account, that's digital money. So you could buy money, but it's all in USD dollars. It's in a currency, but it's digital. It's a digital form. There's no necessary dollar bills backing that up. So that's the first stage of that. The difference here is this one's decentralized. So PayPal, if you send your money to PayPal, that's centralized with PayPal. PayPal is actually holding your money. And then when you transfer it or you use it, you're transferring out of PayPal. The difference with cryptocurrency is it's decentralized. So it doesn't exist in one place. It exists in something that's called a distributed ledger. And we don't need to go into what that is, but it basically just for the audience, just think the existence of this coin, it's split up and distributed among thousands of different computers. You see what I'm saying? And so it's your wallet or your code is how you access it, but it's not in one place. It's not in one place. And then so here's another reason why it's a paradigm shift, because the world of computers, it's changing. The world of computers is changing. So let's look at these analogies step by step. You got a computer, all right? And everyone knows what a computer is. A computer, that's the, let's say it's a box in your room, and you've got a monitor, a screen, so you can see what's going on in the box in your room. And then that's a computer. It allows you to do calculations, run programs, and all that stuff. So over the years, people built programs that run on a computer. Now, then after that, you had the Internet. The Internet connects computers together. So that means my computer is connected to your computer. It's all connected. And then now people can do things connected with each other. So they can build a service where everyone can access it as long as they have an Internet connection. They could build businesses where you could find information. They can build all this stuff. So that's the Internet. So you got computers. Then on top of that, you got the Internet. What's going on right now is, this is a weird concept. You've got computers that are being built on top of the Internet. So in other words, think of it's a distributed computer. And then we won't go into all the details of what exactly does that mean, but just like one computer, the computer that's in your room, it's made up of circuits. It's got all the different parts in it, the circuit boards and everything like that. Think of if you had like a world computer that is utilizing computers everywhere for its computing power.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So the thing about this is, the beauty of this is it's not like what we might think it is, like a one world computer or there's elites doing this and they kind of doing that. Anyone could build one. You or I or anyone with enough technical skill, you could sit down and make your own blockchain code or your own platform or your system if you really wanted to, and it would sit on top of the Internet and would do that, and you would make it distributed where everyone could see what's going on. That's why people trust it. So all the transactions that go on, people can see not you doing the transaction, but they could see that the transaction happened. So it's trustworthy. It's fundamentally trustworthy because everything can be seen. It's not hidden. It's hidden in the sense that the actors are hidden. So if you have some account or you've got some wallet, no one who sees who you are, no one sees whatever, but they see that value was transferred from this wallet to that wallet or something like that, and that's publicly verifiable. So it's trustworthy. It's not people. It's not like the banks. The banks is just people in a room, or they do whatever, or Wall Street guys, and they cheat the market. They can just do things, and the public doesn't know about it. This one is known about. So getting back to the source of this, it's basically you've got a new world where computers and computing systems and platforms, they're being built on top of the Internet. See, the Internet happens because the computers are connected, but on top of that, you got computers built on top of the Internet. So now what's going on is people are building languages to write programs in that, and they're also building services on top of that. And then this is where the cryptocurrency comes in. Because when these computers or computing systems are built on top of the Internet, you can get a token. And a token basically, think about it as a way of you're somehow participating in that computer, in this blockchain. Really, the terms to use is blockchain and things like that if people want to research this. But basically, you're participating by buying a token. So you contribute, and then it gives you an incentive to contribute. So you have a token that you can buy and sell. And then the token is worth more based upon how useful that particular platform is. So if I say, for example, I buy an Ethereum coin. Ethereum is one of these world computers. And if it does well and people start using it more and more and more, and then other companies start building stuff on top of this world computer called Ethereum, then the price of the value of Ethereum goes up. So you have your little token that you bought a long time ago. Now it's worth a lot more because the number of coins, people are buying up the number of coins. They want more of them, so the value starts going up. And then so now you've made money because now you can sell one of your tokens for dollars out in the world, the banknote, and then actually end up making a lot of money. So that's what. So I would describe it as uncontrolled math money because it's mathematically based. In order to mine these coins, some of these coins have to be what's called mined, which means they come into existence through the solving of math problems. So, yeah, that's crazy, right? So the way Bitcoin works is they say, hey, we wrote this language that produces math problems, and if your computer can solve the math problem, it gets a token. That's oversimplified, but that's basic. That's basically what it is. And then so all the other computers can see you solve the math problem, so you deserve the token, so it gives you the token. So it's kind of like silver and gold, which is why another reason why this is not a bubble and why it's a paradigm shift is it's some way similar to like a digital silver and gold in two ways. Number one, it's a limited supply. There's only a certain amount of Bitcoin that can ever exist, of Ethereum that can ever exist, of Litecoin that can ever exist. Each one of these coins, there's a top amount that can ever exist, period, because it's written into the code that made the coin. It can't be changed. So then it cannot be blown up. It cannot be pumped and inflated. You can't have it like with the Federal Reserve where they say, hey, we're going to print up a lot of money, and then it's going to devalue and cause inflation. You cannot have that. You cannot create this out of the blue. It's written in code. There's only a certain amount, and when the last ones are mined, that's it. After that, so it's a limited supply like silver and gold, and then it's also useful. It's intrinsically useful like silver and gold. So just like silver, gold are precious metals, these math coins, I call them a cryptocurrency, they're precious numbers. Their intrinsic value is in the cryptology, and they also have other industrial values and stuff like that. So they're special numbers, and it's based on that. So it's based on a system that is you can't really inflate it like that. Now, that does not mean that every cryptocurrency is good. It does not mean that. We can get into that in maybe some future conversation, but how to tell the good ones from the bad ones. But basically that's what it is. So the importance here is that why are we shifting into a new reality? So what does this mean it's a shift? Why is it not something that has just appeared out of the blue? Well, one day you're going to be able to buy things with these. You'll be able to buy things with these. One day you will be able to pull out your phone or you whatever, and you'll be able to buy something directly, a good directly with a Litecoin or Bitcoin. Now, they already got this in some corners of the world, and some people say, hey, this coffee shop accepts Bitcoin and stuff like that. That already exists in some small amount. But at a certain point, this is going to be widespread. People are going to want to buy regular things with their various different coins. And then that's when you're going to see the value of this will rise up a lot. It won't be nothing like it is today. It's not going to be like some of these coins are worth $10 or $100. Like these things are going to skyrocket because it becomes useful. It becomes a reason for you to buy them and to save them because you want to spend them later versus like you're betting online. So that's what makes it a paradigm shift is because there's a new situation coming where you will actually be able to buy things with this. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons right now to start slowly but surely learning about it and getting into it.
So what are, in addition to some of the things that you were sharing, some brothers that I know were talking about the different cryptocurrencies, or if a person wanted to get more information, like I want to do some more research on cryptocurrencies, where should they start?
So if somebody wants to get more information about this, there are a number of people online who analyze these things 24/7. There are people all over YouTube. What I would do is start researching the concept and start striving to understand it. And I would say that, type in cryptocurrencies, type in blockchain, type in cryptocurrencies, type in top coins, and then just start getting a feel for what's out there. I mean, I got some of my personal favorite sources, and I could certainly tell those, but I don't want to be overly specific for people who are just now hearing about that. You know what I'm saying? I want to get people, in the habit of researching this stuff. If people want to start getting into this, you can set up. I think you want to set up a wallet, an online. It's like a bank account. Think of it as a cryptocurrency bank account. And the way you do it is you transfer money to yourself into your own bank account, and then you buy cryptocurrencies with that money. And then from there, you can go to something called an exchange. So let's say that I buy a certain amount of cryptocurrency. Let's say it's Bitcoin. Let's say I buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. Then I put that into my online bank account or my online Bitcoin wallet. I can transfer that Bitcoin to myself onto an exchange where I also have an account. And I could buy there's thousands and thousands of cryptocurrencies out there. So then the way it works is you would do your research and you would look into it and you would say, you know what, I believe in that coin. I really want that. I think that's valuable. I think it's good. I'm going to put a little bit into that. Now, so general high-level statement I have to make. I'm not a financial advisor, and you're not claiming you are either. So always be responsible with your money. However, I will say that, and also, cryptocurrencies are very, very volatile. They're up one day, they're down one day. So you have to keep that in mind. So if you buy something, you're like, oh my God, it's going down. This was a scam. No. This stuff is going to bounce around. Some of the cryptocurrencies that are very, very, very high value and good, you want to hold on to those for a long term because a lot of those things are going to go up a lot, like orders of magnitude a lot. You see what I'm saying? Some of those ones. It's hard to tell which ones. You see what I'm saying? And that's a part of the research. And like I said, maybe we can have future conversations where we talk and we build about this kind of thing, and we could get into a little bit more of those specifics and the reasons why. However, that's what you would do. So you would set up basically an online crypto bank account, it has your crypto wallets, and then you would want to set up several accounts with certain exchanges, some trusted ones, and then you could do that. So get into the specific services that I use. I'm not promoting them because I don't have any stake in these things. But these are the ones that I personally have found to be trustworthy. So the first one is Coinbase. Now, if you want to set up an account on that, and if you want to use a referral for that, I would be happy to send you a referral where I think you get $10 worth of Bitcoin as soon as you spend a certain amount, like $100, something like that. So as soon as you spend up to a small amount, you get a friend. So if you're interested in that, if you're interested in getting a referral link, you can email me at truewise@gmail. Truewise@gmail. That's TRUEWISE. Truewise@gmail. So if you email me and you ask for a referral link, I will be more than happy to send you my referral link, and you can set up your Coinbase account from there. So I think that Coinbase is the best because it's very trustworthy. It's a reputable business. They set their spending cap lower recently because since cryptocurrency is blowing up so much and everyone's trying to buy it, they're trying to set these spending caps. So in order to get your spending cap up, you have to send them some extra information. It's standard stuff. So that's where you're going to store your cryptocurrencies. That's where you're going to get your main ones, like your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, and your Litecoin. From there, what you want to do is find an exchange. The exchange that I personally trust and I think is trustworthy, and if you do your research on exchanges, I think this is trustworthy. It's called Binance, like the word finance, but begins with a B as in boy, Binance. That's the one I use for that. If you want a referral link for that, I'll send you that to TrueWise@gmail. I can send you a referral. But basically, that's where you take your original cryptocurrency, such as Bitcoin or Ethereum, and you transfer it to yourself to your Binance wallet or to any other exchange wallet. And from there, you can buy the other coins. And that's where it's got all these other coins, all these other new coins that's coming out. And a lot of them are cheap. They're like $1 or 1 cent or whatever the case. So then you do your research, you pick which ones you like, and you buy a few of them, whatever you think you can afford. And then so that's how it works. So you got your main bank account where you buy the main ones, and then you buy the other ones with the cryptocurrency. And the main one that I'll tell you, I say I don't give advice, but I'll give advice on this one, is the cryptocurrency called Ethereum that I've referenced multiple times in this discussion. Ethereum, I think, is a very, very, very safe buy in my opinion. It's not risky in my view, and it probably will continue to go up a lot. And I'll tell you what. So I bought Ethereum for the first time last summer, the summer of 2016. So the summer before last. And I started doing some research on Ethereum, and they were talking about how they wanted to build a world computer. Ethereum at that point in time was $10 a piece. Today it is more than $10,000 a piece.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So my first wave, I bought like 10 of them. I was like, well, you know what? I'm reading different sources online. Some say it's not, you shouldn't buy it. Some say you shouldn't. I researched it, and I'm like, I think this makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm going to waste $100, and I'm going to buy 10 of them. Who knows? I've wasted $100 before. This wouldn't be the first time. Let me just waste $100. Let me just buy them. Then it starts, building and going up. And then about half a year later, it was up to around 45 or $50, and I bought 10 more. And then so off of an initial investment of $600 turned to a value of $20,000. And the reason why I don't cash that out is because I like Ethereum more than I like dollars. So I'm keeping that, and then when I want to buy something new, I buy more Ethereum. So why is Ethereum so reliable? Why? There's two things going on that you want to notice with Ethereum. A lot of the new coins are built on top of Ethereum, Ethereum's platform, Ethereum's network. It's built on top of Ethereum. They're choosing to build on top of Ethereum because a lot of the new cryptocurrencies, after they looked into it and did the knowledge, they decided that Ethereum is a good platform to build on. That's what they think. So they're all building on top of that. So their value goes up, then Ethereum goes way up with it because everyone's using it. That's number one. And then when you look at these ICOs, it's something called an ICO, an initial coin offering. So we've all heard of a IPO, an initial public offering, when a company finally goes public and then their stocks are available to purchase. You remember Facebook's IPO and the other one IPO. This is an ICO. It's an initial coin offering. So it's when a company has made a new cryptocurrency, and then they give their big presentation, and they say, hey, this is our dream. This is the team we've hired to build it. This is the stuff we're doing. This is our roadmap. Please invest in us by buying our coins. And at that point in time, the coin is usually like 10 cents a piece or 25 cents a piece or something like that. And then if they do a good ICO, then a whole bunch of people will buy it, and they're able to fund their efforts and to pay their team and to do this stuff and try to meet their goals in order to accomplish this stuff. And then so these ICOs, or initial coin offerings, what they're doing is, it's a new business. This is a new way of funding businesses. They'll make a coin version of themselves, a token on whatever platform they're building. Crazy, right? And so then they get to crowdsource it off of people buy tokens, and then if they do well, that means you bought tokens that was 10 cents when they first came out, or 1 cent when they first, some of them, or 50 cents when they first came out. And then if they end up doing really well, it could be worth $1 a piece or $10 a piece. By that time, if you bought a certain amount, you might have made thousands of dollars, and you could either at that point you could cash out and get your money and buy things, or you could stay with it because you really believe in the project. So when you look at these ICOs, when a lot of them say, hey, you can buy some initial coins from us, you know what the main coin that they usually accept that you can buy in is Ethereum. They say, you can buy these coins. Some of them say you can buy it in USD. You could buy it in Ethereum. You can buy it in Litecoin. That's another common one, Litecoin. But almost all of them, pretty much almost all of them say you can buy this new coin that we've got with Ethereum. So that's another reason that Ethereum is probably most likely going to continue to go up and up and up and up and up and be worth a lot by the end of this year, by the end of next year and so forth, is because not only are people, these new companies are building their platforms on top of Ethereum, they're also trading in terms of it. They say, hey, you can get first dibs, but you got to give us like 0.001 Ethereum or whatever the case may be for this. And then, another thing is you don't have to buy a whole coin. A lot of times people, they get caught up on the fact that a whole coin is worth so much. So like, let's say you have Ethereum and it's maybe let's say it's worth $1,000 or it's worth $1,400. You don't have to buy the whole coin. Buy 1/1000th of a coin. It doesn't matter. All you're trying to do is transfer value. So don't feel bad if, like, right now you can only afford 1/10 or 1/100th of a coin. All you're trying to do is get the value, get that piece, and do whatever with it. You could buy it, you could trade things with it, or you could just sit on it, and it goes up in value. Oftentimes, if you pick the right coin.
Yeah, I think that's too, like, some people's hesitancy when it comes to wanting to invest. Like, they may think that, man, I got to have like $10,000 to put up in order to invest in some cryptocurrency.
Right. And that's nothing could be further from the truth. Like, if you look at your budget and you say, you know what, I could afford $100 out of each paycheck to play around with this crypto, or I could afford $200. Then just stop there. Just say, like, okay, I'm going to do this $100. I'm going to buy, you might say, I'm going to buy $20 worth of Bitcoin and $50 worth of Ethereum and $30 worth of Litecoin, and that's it. And you just buy that, you let it sit, and you just do what you want. But you can just take it easy with it, and then just accumulate over the time. Because if you look and you do your research on this, and if you come to the conclusion, as I have, that this stuff is the future, you're not wasting your money. You're getting into the next thing. If you buy that, and if you come to that conclusion, which I definitely have come to that conclusion, very much have come to that conclusion. I am very much into cryptocurrency. I research them. I don't spend more than I can, but I research them. I get them. I buy new ones with some of the old ones. And then that's really how I approach it. But I think that it's very important that we don't miss out. So at the very bare minimum, look into it. It's not like, go out and buy stuff. I think go out and buy, but look into it. I think definitely look into it, because it'll be better to waste $100 or $200 now. You'll feel better about that than if you look back 5 years from now and been like, damn, I could have gotten, I could have had $50,000, right? Like one feeling is way worse than the other, right? I don't like the feeling that I could have been a millionaire. I don't like that feeling at all. So, and then a lot of us who, who are involved with the community and we do stuff like that, we're not necessarily the richest people in the world. So it'd be nice if there are a good chunk of us who could change our financial situation and then be able to exercise more financial power into the world that we want to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those opportunities where we're in that shift right now. So that's why I'm so enthusiastic about, like, talk about this stuff. Talk about this to this person, that person, this group, that group, because this information needs to get out there so there's fewer people who miss out.
True indeed. So what's some things that you would say just off the top that people need to look out for?
Very good. That's very good. So some come into this crypto world and they try to do kind of, I don't want to say scams, but it's basically scams, right? Because anything that's lucrative, anything that where a lot of money's flying around, you got to have some people who come in there and do scams. So you got some people who, there's pump and dump coins, where people hype up a coin, and there's a concerted effort to hype up some random crazy coin, and then the people who are the insiders, then they sell it when everybody else is buying it, right? So you want to look out for pump and dumps. That's the thing. That happens with stocks too. That's not special with crypto. Another thing is you want to look out for is be sure that you're using websites that are reputable. Be sure you're not using websites that are scams. So one way to check out that is if you type in the name of, let's say there's a cryptocurrency exchange that you're interested in, like BitterX or something like that. Then we go to Google, type in the name of it, like BitterX, and then type in the word scam and see what pops up. And click on those links, and you'll see people talking about whether or not it's a scam. Like I said, the two services that I mainly use is I use Coinbase as my crypto wallet, and I use Binance as my main exchange. And there's a couple other here and there, but there are some weird sites out there that are like, I don't like this. I'm not going to link this to anything that I've got. I'm not going to link it to my bank account. You know what I'm saying? Coinbase, you can do that, and you have to do that. But some of these other ones, they're like weird. They ask for stuff. So watch out for that. What else would I say watch out for? Don't look. This is a more sophisticated topic that we could get into later. But don't look at just how cheap a coin is. Look at the market cap. And I'll just spend just a couple seconds on this. There's a site called coinmarketcap.com. Coinmarketcap.com. And what it does is it's a ranking of all the cryptocurrencies, and it ranks them in order of their market cap. So right now, Bitcoin is the top market cap. It's got a certain amount of billions of dollars of people. So what does market cap mean? That means how much money is put into this. If you take everyone who's investing in this and everyone who's buying it, how many dollars are invested in this coin? That's the market cap. Then you got the circulating supply. The circulating supply. That means how many coins are available to even be purchased. And there's different circulating supplies. Like some got a ton of coins, some got a very few coins. So these two things is going to affect the price. So if you have a high market cap and a high circulating supply, the price will be in a certain area. Versus if you have a high market cap and a very low circulating supply, those are going to be some very expensive coins, right? Because there's fewer to go around. Versus if you're like a low market cap, you could do the math. Circulated supply times price equals the market cap. So basically you get that ratio. It's a ratio of those three things. And so I would look at that. Again, we'll get into some like strategy maybe in a future conversation. But you want to take into account market cap, circulating supply, and price. You don't want to just look at, it's really cheap. Well, that might be because they've got a artificially low circulating, or high circulating supply, or vice versa. Oh, that's really expensive. Might not be a lot of coins. So then what do you want to judge from this? This is how you could judge how much room does it have to grow and things like that. So that when you get into your analytical thinking about this and you start weighing the evidence and you're starting to do your detective work, those are some of the factors that you want to look into as you're doing this. And then other than that, you just want to do the knowledge to do your research on the actual coin itself and find things that are solving a problem. If you find projects that are solving a problem and they got a good team building it, those are reasons to think that it's a good value.
Now, what's an example of that?
Oh, okay. So an example of that, I would say right now some of the specific coins that I like are one called IOTA. That's using something other than blockchain. It's using some futuristic technology for their stuff. There's one called EOS. There's another called Cardano. Litecoin is I think a good one. Litecoin is fast. So let me talk about high-level themes. Some of the coins, when the coins come out, they got a certain proposition. They got a certain thing that they say they offer that's new. Some of them say that we have fast transaction speeds. So Litecoin would fall in that category. And then, so a lot of these, they take the old coins and they adapt them and they create their own new one off of it. Because this is open source. This stuff is open source. That means the code that makes it is available on the internet. So anybody could copy the code. You could make your own new coin. It wouldn't be worth anything if you just willy-nilly just create a coin. You'd have to, but you could take your own new coin and then change and tweak certain things about it. So that's what a lot of these coins came from. They came from people saying, you know what, I like Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is kind of slow. So we're going to do this and change the code here and tweak this here, and we're going to make it so the transaction speeds are faster. And then that's basically what Litecoin came from. And then you got things that's like Ethereum, which I've said is, I think that's one of the best things that you could buy now. Ethereum, there's other coins who say, you know what, Ethereum has a couple of problems here and there. We're going to build on top of that and solve the problems. You know, or some of them will say, we're going to create, Ethereum says that they're a computer, a world computer. We're going to be a supercomputer. And then they try to do that. But then you try to look at the merits. You read the white paper. You see what are the experts saying about the white paper? What are they saying about this? What are they saying about that? And then you look into that. One of my favorite set of analysts is crypto gurus. I like them, crypto gurus. If you just Google that, you'll find their crypto gurus. They do a very thorough analysis of the new coins and all that stuff. So I like them. That's a group. They got a YouTube page and they do videos. So I would say my favorites. I would say Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ripple, Cardano, Litecoin, EOS, and there's a few more. There's a bunch more, but those are some of those top ones. Now, one thing to mention as a general rule, the higher the market cap, the less risky. The lower the market cap, the more risky, but the more potential for growth. So that's one principle to keep in mind. So as you go to coinmarketcap.com and you look at the different coins out there, the ones that are high market cap, that's less risky. But they don't have that much growing room usually. But that's fine. You might want to get into it anyway, because the number 2 is Ethereum. And that's the number one that I honestly recommend to buy, because all of the other coins, they accept that as currency. Ethereum's become like the new dollar bill in the crypto world. Everyone wants it. So that's why I think it's a really good buy. Bitcoin is like gold. People want to store their value in it. They want to own it, and they want to keep it, and they want to save it. And that's why it maintains its value very well, because people don't normally want to get rid of it. But Ethereum is the most useful. Ripple is another one. That's a centralized. That's one of the few ones that's centralized. The banks like that one because they want to speed up transactions with it. So that might do well, because it'll make so think about when you transfer money through banks and you have to wait days and days and days. Well,
absolutely.
If the banks start using Ripple protocol, for example, that'll be within seconds or minutes versus days. So Ripple now is testing out their platform with the various different trading companies. And if it all shows and proves to be worthwhile, Ripple it might go way up. It might. And then there's some others. But like I said, these things could be discussed at length, but those are some of them out there. Yeah, IOTA and some of these other ones. There's one called Simple Token. I want to last mention this. There's one called Simple Token. Simple Token, what they're trying to do, they're doing like, let's say that you have a business and you want to have a cryptocurrency that's branded to your business. It's yours. It's your cryptocurrency, and you give it to your customers or your patrons, and they're able to do certain things with them and whatever the case may be. What this Simple Token thing is trying to do is they're trying to make it so that you don't have to buy your own you don't have to build your own cryptocurrency. You just buy Simple Tokens and brand it yourself as your own, and then trade it on like a market with other companies that also do Simple Token. So who knows whether that will go way up or not? I like that coin, so I ended up buying some because I'm like I could easily see businesses doing that where they say like I want my own cryptocurrency, but I don't want to have to build it from scratch myself, right? And then they brand it their own and they do all that stuff. So I'm a fan of that one. So those are some of the things that I'm fans of, and there's others. There's probably about a couple dozen that I could mention, but those are some of the top ones that I like.
So the crypto gurus that you were talking about, they actually elaborate and explain what all of the various cryptocurrencies. Yes,
they elaborate very, very deeply, and they're very, very much into the crypto world. And when I stumble upon them, I'm like, I like these guys, right? Because they break it down. And there's a bunch of good analysts out there, but Crypto Gurus is one of my favorites. It's a group of folks, and they analyze that stuff, and I kind of like them. Okay.
So you saying that you did a presentation for Kwanzaa. Now, have you been doing other presentations about cryptocurrency as well, or do you have that in mind in the future?
I would like to do some more. It's mainly been that presentation, a few things like this, like what we're doing now, a couple of those here and there. But I wanna make sure that our community really and this all communities of goodwill can learn about this stuff and position themselves for the future. So so that's something that I'm definitely always looking for and open to.
Yeah. Now, have you been seeing some pushback in terms of just this whole idea of it being decentralized and some of the type of attitudes that governments or corporations have had towards cryptocurrency?
Are you saying like are the governments and corporations pushing back on it? Or are you saying are regular people pushing back on it?
Yeah, in terms of like governments and corporations and stuff, since it's decentralized and they don't have their control over it.
Absolutely. Actually, the IRS is very upset about people storing their money now in these offline other ways, and the value is hidden. And then so the IRS is trying to figure out how to do with it, but they're not very technically savvy. So they're trying to say, like, at first they said, like, okay, we're going to give you a capital gains tax based upon it, but then we're going to give you a certain amount based upon the trading. So this new IRS code being written trying to deal with the cryptocurrency stuff. However, do not let that scare you from doing it, I would say to the listeners, because if you see the value in cryptocurrency, period, then getting some kind of a tax based upon it won't be that bad. I think it's more important and it's better to actually own the cryptos and then figure out later exactly how to handle it when you're doing your taxes. So the IRS definitely does not like that. And the banks are very, very scared because it can completely replace the need for banks. You actually don't need banks anymore with cryptos. Once crypto gets mature, you're not going to need banks. You're going to have apps where you could say, like, okay, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy this item with X amount of Litecoin or Ethereum, and then that's the transaction. You won't need banks anymore. Once people switch to this. Right now, people aren't there yet because people buy the cryptocurrencies hoping that it will go up so they can sell it for U.S. dollars. That's the phase we're in right now. But there will be a future phase where they buy the cryptocurrency and they just use that as their main currency. And then at that point in time, the banks have a lot of reason to be very, very scared about this. So yes, the governments and the corporations don't like that. But with that being said, the new cryptocurrencies are actually trying to play nice with the government because they don't want to be shut down. So they come out and they say, hey, I want to work with you. Even Ethereum, the Ethereum people were doing that. They're saying to the UN, the UN is interested in using Ethereum for transferring money to and from third world countries and things like that. They're trying to actually use Ethereum for stuff. They're trying to figure out how to do it. So they're trying to play nice with them and be like, you know what, we can all benefit in some way, shape, or form from this, so let's try to work together. So there is a lot of fear, but since people who do the knowledge to it, people who study it, they know that this is the wave of the future, so they want to get into it somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, too, some of the reluctance is because it is a change, it is a paradigm shift, and people are not necessarily ready for things to change like that because there's some insecurity around that.
That's right.
People may not know what is that going to look like in the next 5 years or 10 years or,
That's right. Yeah. There's also a lot of skepticism I'll see from people who are conscious and they're aware. So people who are aware of the conspiracies of the world, they're aware of misdealings and things like that. They'll see the cryptocurrencies. They'll be like, oh, yeah, they control that too, and that's just another plot to do X, Y, and Z. Don't assume that. Don't assume that that's a plot. I don't see, frankly, how it could be. There's something called a distributed ledger, and everybody can see it, and no one's controlling it. So some of this stuff is crazy and dangerous because it's not so controlled. So this is not something that it's like this, how they always predicted, like, oh, they're going to move us into a cashless society and all that stuff. Remember those predictions? And there was some desire to do that, but it had to be centralized in order for elites and for oligarchs to benefit from it. It's not a benefit to them if it's decentralized. It doesn't work for them because they don't own and control the value. It's just a free running thing that's out there. That like for Bitcoin, for example, there is no Bitcoin company. There is no Bitcoin stock. There's no Bitcoin building with Bitcoin employees. That doesn't exist. It's just code that exists in the that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. Now, some of these other cryptocurrencies do have companies, but like Bitcoin, for example, it doesn't have a company or a building or a team working on it. It doesn't have any of that. So these other cryptocurrencies, they modeled their stuff based upon that. They say, hey, we've got this new crypto, but trust us because we're open ledger. You can see open source. You can see all of our stuff and all kinds of stuff. So they wrote the code for it, and they update the stuff, but they don't control the microtransactions, and they're not watching this and doing that. They can't do it's open. It's open. So it's a whole new way of thinking about money. It's a whole new thing. And it's it's important. Get some stake into it now. Some stake.
Now you mentioned earlier in the interview that it was basically an interest into survival that got you thinking more about cryptocurrency. So what are some of the things in terms of survival that people need to consider in alignment when investing with cryptocurrency?
Yes, very good question. So cryptocurrency has been a way that people protect their money from the powers that be. And so over the past 5 years, 6 or 7 years, we've seen many events around different parts of the world where a certain government will say, hey, we've got this crisis, and this crisis, we don't care that it was caused by our bankers, and we don't care that it was caused by speculation, and we don't care that it was caused by all this misdealings. We're going to tax it out of you, the public. So guess what? We're going to reach into your bank account, and if you have at least X amount of money, we're going to take a certain percentage out of that because we need it for the good of the country. That's really happened in certain countries. And then when that happens, what I started noticing years ago, in 2012, this had happened, the price of Bitcoin would spike up around those events. And it said it's because people are trying to protect their money from uncertainty. And what you'll often see is when the stock market isn't necessarily doing well, oftentimes the crypto market is doing well. And I'm not saying they're automatically opposites, but I'm saying that in a lot of cases where you have some very, very controversial election going on in some country where someone might do something crazy with the money or the system, people start putting their money into cryptos because it's harder to see. It's easier to transfer it to yourself. It's easier to hide it it's easier for you to be in control of your own money when you're dealing with cryptos. You see what I'm saying? So from a survival perspective, that's the kind of thing that I started thinking about. I'm like, well, what if things just go completely crazy and, like, you know, what am I going to do? Like, even if I move to another country, what do you do there? Like, are you going to have any money? Can you transfer it to yourself? Like, if you try to go through an airport with a bunch of silver coins, for example, you know, that might get seized. You see what I'm saying? But if you've got some little disk drive or if you've got some little online account with just a code and a wallet, as long as you get an internet connection overseas, you could transfer that money into some kind of some kind of bank account or something like that. You could have control over your own stuff, and it won't even necessarily be able to be seen easily or tracked easily by certain powerful institutions. So that's where the survivalist angle, I think, comes in.
Yeah, that's peace. So listen, God, let me thank you again for being on the show, and I definitely want to have you back on to add on a little bit more specifically about the cryptocurrency thing, because this is something, like I said, this is going to be something that is an ongoing discussion. There's a lot of people that are starting to get more interested in it, and they need the answers. You know, they need to have the proper direction.
That's right. They need a starting point because this stuff's confusing and weird. Yeah, and one thing that I don't like is I don't like the information barrier where really technical people, they're able to get the jump, but then, like, regular people are not. You know what I'm saying? So I'm passionate about just regular people, just regular working people. Like, can they get into it too? Because I don't want them to be 10 years from now left out of all of the winnings, you know?
True indeed. Okay, guys, so could you give us your email address again, just in case people wanted to follow up with you to get further information?
Absolutely. That email address is truewise@gmail. Truewise@gmail. That is TRUEWISE @gmail. And if you send that and you say, hey, I want to set up a Coinbase or Binance or whatever, I'll send you a link. Or if you have extra questions about it, I will be more than happy to elaborate on those topics.
All right. Thanks again, God, and I'm going to build with you.
Absolutely. It's been great. Absolutely. Right. So let's definitely build soon.
Okay, God.
All right, God.
Peace.
All right. Peace.
All right. We're going to try a new song.
Break it down like this.
My life story, strictly business, never blew my chance. Moms kicked me out the house when I was flipping, I'm the man. Put the boys on the street, make them walk this beat. Teach them how to eat and to seek for peace. Son, I stamp this name, living proof, cause I mean what I say. Bring the fake to reality and make them pay. Yo, these ghetto rhyme stories got them scared to death. I'm trying to get the fuck out, see what the world's about. Check it, 1986 is when I reached my peak. Take my brothers out of state and try to make some ends meet. First destination, Texas, and it's just like that. Making moves with my brothers and there's no turning back. We got 36 grams on the scale right now. Getting ready with my brothers, time to break this shit down. I'm not about killing my people, but you know how it go. Work with me, not against me, and we'll make mad dough. With my co-defendant out when I break down with rap. Hold me back and give me love, and now I'm giving it back. A unique sound from the streets, and it's just so sweet. My living proof life story, let me break it in peace.
Yo, I rock on the block with the real hip-hop. As you start to clock and jock. Yo, I'm coming off with mad rage. 18 and hitting the real stage. But don't worry about me, cause I'm making it. And if I can't have it, then I'm taking it. That's how it is, cause I'm living trife. Where's my knife? Take a chance with your life. Rappers decapitate and disintegrate. You I will mutilate. when I penetrate. Go for the one when I say raid. A hitman for hire and I wanna get paid. Cause bullets are sprayed and anybody is laid. More money is made and that's the family trade. See, I make moves and tell what's the truth. That's why I'm here to be living proof.
Leave it up to me while I be living proof. Life as a shorty shouldn't be so rough. Leave it up to me while I be living proof. Life as a shorty shouldn't be so rough. Leave it up to me while I be living proof. Life as a shorty shouldn't be so rough. Leave it up to me while I be living proof. Life as a shorty shouldn't be so rough.
I'm lost, must pay the cost to be the boss. With force, gotta get my point across. I'm going off on the mic, insane, out of sight. When I take flight, like Mike. And you see, I be rolling like a battle cat. And I'm ready to rip on my combat. Beef, I'm not having that, yo, I pull my trigger back. And all you pussy niggas know where my heart is at. I like to stay down low, but yo, I flip at times. Like when I'm kicking rhymes or busting out nines. It's like that shit, I jumped off the roof. Psych, cause I wouldn't be living proof.
Kick the truth to the young black youth.
The moral of the story, what the fuck's going on? And I see mostly 2000 if these niggas keep frontin'. I used to hustle on the block, now I rock for pace. Watch out, the world turn and I will come back. Believing stress off my brain, I got the la for that. Breaking down all subjects and then all facts. Letting loose everything, but still keeping the fact. Bustin' niggas keep on frontin' in this game, aight? Scared to death fast, rappers don't get no prop. Scared to come to the ghetto, talk about busting shots. See, I can walk around the ghetto, standing peace and at ease. Get my ghetto crowd open, yo, you know what I mean. Indeed, see what I see and then you know what I mean. Getting ready for the future, so don't fuck with me. My living proof life story, niggas, I kill it with ease.